Hey everybody, it's Austin. I am here after finishing the 3-inch front spacer lift on the Tundra, and I'm just going to show you some measurements. So you can see the spacer right in there, right on top of the coilover shock. And I just wanted to show you what the front measures out to now. So you line up the tape measure with the ground in the center of the wheel, and you come in, and it is 39 inches on the front, which on the passenger side is a 3-inch lift. So the front is the same on the driver's side. It's exactly 39 inches both front and back. But the passenger side, for whatever reason, is showing a 1/2 inch height difference. The front is now a 1/2 inch higher than the back. So I was planning to do this anyways, but I'm going to be adding a 1-inch block to the back, which I'm going to do right now. But I just wanted to let you guys know it's off by a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'll post some pictures. I don't know if you can, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell in the garage, but I'll post a picture of the side and you can kind of see that. But we're going to be doing the rear block install, which hopefully isn't as difficult. I've read it's pretty easy. So we're going to go ahead and start that so that everything matches. So we are putting on the rear blocks now, and the first step is taking the wheel off and then putting it underneath the truck so you are protected if your jack stands were to fail. And then the next thing, once you get your jack stand underneath there to support it, you're going to want to the rear axle will be supported by the opposite side of that you're doing. It'll be held up by the leaf springs as well as the rear shock. So you don't have to put the jack there, but I put it there because I'm going to need to jack up the axle here in a little bit. So the first step is to take off this screw that holds your brake line there. That holds the brake line here, because you don't want it to stretch as you lower down the axle to give you space here to put in your block. So once you do that, the next step is to take out the bolt right here from your shock. And what that is a 17 millimeter bolt and nut on both sides. So I found that I don't have two 17 millimeters, so I used a 17 millimeter and an 11/16 socket to hold one side, and that worked just fine. So I did that, and then in order to get that out, that's going to be pretty stuck. So you're going to want to lower down the axle to relieve the tension on that shock in order to remove the shock. That'll help you get the bolt out. You're not taking the shock completely off, you're literally just taking the bolt out. So that's pretty easy. Just make sure you lower the axle when you do that. Prior to me lowering that though, I'm going to take the nuts off of the U-bolts, the factory U-bolts, and that's underneath here, so you can see there. Those on this truck, on the 2019 Tundra, which would be every Tundra, is a 19 millimeter. So use a 19 millimeter for that. And you're gonna wanna remove those. You can see I removed a couple. This is loose. So once that's removed, you have nothing supporting the axle other than your jack. So make sure the jack's under there once you remove that. Once you've undone those bolts, then you can lower the jack, and that will get the axle low enough to where you can put in the block. So I'm gonna finish up doing that, and you guys can watch. All right, so I've removed 3 of the 4 bolts of the factory U-bolts, the nuts rather. Let me get my glove back on. Got to keep these hands looking nice. All right, so I have removed the back one. Got to remove the front one. There we go. Set those out of the way. You will not need to use those again. But keep the mounting plate. It doesn't matter the orientation, but I'm just going to keep it the same way I pulled it off. And just set it down. You can remove these U-bolts. But make sure your bump stop doesn't move. My bump stop right here kind of wiggles, so I don't want it to go out of place. So I'm just going to leave that one there just to hold it. And then I'm going to have my wife lower the jack. You can reach it yourself, but it's easier to have someone else control it. I'm going to have her lower it just a little bit so that I can remove the bolts right here on the shock. So, babe, if you wouldn't mind lowering it slowly, and I'll have you stop it. All right, stop. Okay. Is it turned to the right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So that bolt's out. Make sure to keep it with the nut so that you can put it back in right when you're done. So now that that's out of the way, we won't have an issue with that anymore. So I'm going to take off this U-bolt. And then you're going to ask your lovely wife to get you the parts that are on the bench still. Because after getting down here, it's really hard to get back up. Go ahead and put this right back into place. And don't go outside your lines here, because that won't work. So you're going to go ahead and put it right here, the new one. Take your next one, put it right here. And you want these to be inside the little flanges right here. That'll keep them from spreading. And if your bump stop does move, there's a little bit of a dirt pattern beneath it, so you can go ahead and put it back. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this right here. Alright. And I'm gonna put the bottom plate back on. And you will have to pinch the U-bolts together a little bit to get the bottom plate on it, because they're a tad wider than the bottom plate, just so that they fit snug. And I'm just securing a nut on there so it holds it in place in case it were to fall, which I don't think it will, but just in case. Make sure they're still in line up here. Let me go ahead and get the next one on. And this is also good in case your jack were to go out. This would catch the axle. So I think it's just a good safety precaution to have. But you do want to give yourself enough room that you can still slide the block in between the axle and the leaf spring pack. Okay, so at this point, have your block ready, because it's going to go right in between here and between the leaf pack and the axle. So could you lower it down just a little bit? And go slowly, please. Okay, slowly, slowly. Stop. Okay. So this is why we took this out, because this would get pretty tight. So we're gonna see if that will fit. turn it to the right, and you can go back up. And as she goes back up, you want to make sure, go slow please, that this, hang on just a second, babe. So, I'm going to make sure this is level, right there. And this will kind of seat itself. But there's a pin on the bottom of the leaf spring that you want to go in the hole there. So, babe, could you jack just a little bit? Okay, so it's not. Go a little bit more. Alright, so you just want to finagle the leaf spring to get the pin in that hole. Could you lower just a hair? Okay. Okay, try to spin it. All right, back up, please. To the right. Okay. All right, so that went in. Okay. So let's get the U-bolts back where they're supposed to be. Okay, you can jack some, please. Since those are in, I'm gonna put the nuts up just a little bit higher. All right, you can go some more, babe. Hang on just a second, actually. So I'm asking her to jack it up just a little bit more because then I can put the bolt back in this real quick. Keep going, sweetheart. Okay. Keep going a little bit. Wait. Down just a hair. There. Up just a hair. Here. Perfect. Up just, wait. Up just a hair. Perfect. So that's through. And we will make sure to tighten this down. Actually, I'm going to do it right now, just so we don't forget. Thank you. So on this one, you're going to want to torque it down to at least 2 gluggas. That's what I've always gone by. Perfect. Okay, so that's on. Now we got to just put the nuts on the bottom of the U-bolts and tighten them up to where the threads that are peeking through are the same distance through the nut to make sure that it's evenly tightened. And on those, you're going to want to go at least like 5 gluggas on your impact gun, or until you can't turn anymore with your ratchet. So we're going to tighten those up. Well, that's not going to go anywhere. Now, don't forget to put your brake line screw back in. ReadyLift said that this came with an extension bracket, but it did not. So, I'm just using the same one. I think it'll be fine. This one's only an inch block. So, make sure to put that back in. All right, so we have finished the rear 1-inch spacer block, and the height from the ground in this exact same position before was 39 inches. So let's line it up with the center of the wheel, Go all the way to the ground. And we are at 40, about 40 and a quarter, I would say, 40 and 3/8. So let's see what we are in front of the passenger on this side, because the front passenger was a little bit higher for me. Let's see. Same placement here. And we're at 39 and 3/4. I'm between 3/4 and 7/8. So we've got about a 1/2 inch higher in the back, which sounds great to me. I'm not hauling stuff super regularly. And the only trailer I have is for my little John boat. So let's see what this side is. I'll pull it out in the light so y'all can see. But we got the nice lift in front. When you guys do this, if you're on a hill, I threw mine in 4-wheel drive and then put it in park, so that locks the front. But I also put shocks just in case. So this is 39 and a half, maybe just under a half on the driver's front, which I don't understand why it's lower. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm heavy. I can't imagine though. I don't know. 39 and a half up there, and this was 39 before. And it is 40 and a quarter. So 3/4 of an inch higher in the back on this side. So we do have about 3/4 of an inch different from the front to back. So I'm pleased with that, and I'm really excited about how this turned out. It was not too hard. The front definitely gave me some problems at the beginning, if you all haven't seen that video. But it's something you can do yourself, save yourself a lot of money, and have a truck that's lifted where you like it, and give yourself the option for 35-inch tires, 33-inch tires, whatever floats your boat. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Leave a comment or a like. Just let me know if this video helped you out or what I can do better. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. Bye.